Brian is here with me today.
How we doing?
Yeah, welcome back. It's been a while, man.
It's been a time.
I'm happy to have you back on the channel celebrating the, 2025 year with me here and then talking about the future of the channel. So thank you for taking some time to be on the live stream with me today.
Sure thing. Where do you want to start?
Well, I first want to thank everybody who has watched my channel this year or in the past and supported it, whether you've just watched, liked, shared videos, that kind of thing. I really appreciate that. And I also want to thank anybody who's used any of the affiliate links that helps keep my channel kind of running as well. I really appreciate that too. So thank you to everybody who's done that and supported, and also all the people who have said products, all the people who have been on my podcasts, and all the companies and the people in those companies that have helped support the channel too. I really, really appreciate it a lot. And I just wanted to say that before we did anything, because the channel wouldn't exist without all that. And it means a lot to me. So thank you. And we've got at least one person in the chat, which is cool. So, I mean, if there's one person in the chat, I feel like they get shown. That's just the way it happens. So here we go. Got some hellos. Dan is in here as well, which I appreciate. Yeah, and he's always got great questions, and I appreciate that. Really supported the last live stream last week, which was great too. So today, my plan here, Brian, is to kind of review 2025, talk about that, what went well, lessons that might have been learned from things, maybe share a few details people wouldn't know about what happened in 2025. If they joined the channel later or just in 2025, that kind of thing as well. And talk about a few of the products that you and I both used throughout the year in 2025 that we really liked and want to share with people. Also get some ideas from viewers on products that they've liked. And if this is a chance for people to ask questions, and if you had, if you've seen a video and you're like, I had a question about this thing, this is a good time to ask that. And I'm happy to go ahead and do that. Yeah, just kind of go from there. So promo codes almost always are going to be Ben in beta pretty much everywhere. So there are a few that are not, but if you go to a site and you put in Ben in beta, those are going to be the promo codes there. So I appreciate that. That's a great question, and I will also be putting. I'll put all the information in the live chat after we're done, because there might be some things that come up here throughout the stream that I might add product wise that I just think of in the middle of the stream and might want to talk about. So I'll add everything at the end and make sure that's in there. And we can also add things in the chat too. So appreciate that. So that's a great question.
There's a good chance that some of the items we talk about, you've already done some extensive videos on, so you'll have some links there people could use if they want to learn more about the product.
Exactly. All my videos have affiliate links where they work. So that's definitely true. So 2025, Brian, I just want to know, how did it go for you before I get into mine?
I mean, I did a lot of trips. They weren't overlanding trips this year. I missed out on that, but I actually did a lot of trips with my kids this year, which has been great. Started out right off the bat for spring break, road trip down to Port Aransas, Texas, and spent the week down there. Absolutely beautiful area. Later in the year, I did take a class trip with my youngest daughter, who's a freshman this year, but going into her freshman year, she had a trip with the school to do Washington, D.C. and New York City. Nice. So I got to chaperone that and be part of all of that, which was an absolute blast. Immediately following that, there was a music festival that happens here in Wisconsin called Ashley for the Arts. And I love going to that. I do need to find a campsite, though, that's nearby so I can actually do some camping while going to that particular festival versus driving to it's like 45 minutes to the nearest hotel. Beyond that, I did take a trip to Vegas for work, and then immediately followed it up by going directly to St. Louis, Missouri, where I not only attended but actually officiated a couple of friends of mine's wedding, which was a ton of fun. Big honor to be a part of that.
And I was your practice person. You were practicing,
Yes,
your
yes,
spiel with me.
I had
Yeah,
the whole thing
I've heard
all
that.
written up, and I'm like, all right, I need to rehearse. So I definitely had you there, listening in and giving some feedback on that. So I made some tweaks. Um, they're also big the Princess Bride fans, so that was definitely a big element of the ceremony. That was a lot of fun. And then I think a couple weeks after that, maybe a month, I on a whim decided that I was going to use my passport before it expired, and decided to road trip up into Canada. Stopped at a scenic overlook, probably like 6 miles before the border. Spent the night there in my Jeep. Had my camping gear with me and everything, so that all worked out well. Crossing the border, that was interesting because turns out they don't really like it when people do things like that. They're like, "What are you here for?" I'm like, "I want to check out your country, drive around the countryside, and see some sights, see some nature, do some hiking." And they're like, "Do you have any destinations?" I was like, "Nothing specific, whatever catches my eye." So yeah, they definitely checked out my vehicle before they let me in, but they let me in. It's all good there. he did he did notice my Devos light because he saw the tripod. He's like, "What's with the tripod?" I was like, "That's just my camping light. It's all good, no worries." And took a look at that. So then, like I said, after checking a few things out in my vehicle and realizing the hardest narcotic I had in my car was caffeine, they were good to let me in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty full year of things to do. You got a lot of family time, which is awesome, and
Yes.
I'm happy for you for that because I know you really appreciate that a lot. So yeah, we you also helped me out at one point, drive back to Utah from Colorado, so you got to see this place, which that was kind of
Right.
fun. It's always nice to have a driving partner for that. And many of you might not know this, but on our way back, we very nearly ran right smack into a massive tornado. So Brian just said, "Just keep going. It's fine. The
We
storm's right
got
over
this.
there." And yeah, we were very, very close, within like just a mile or two of a very big tornado.
There was
And
one funnel cloud. It never touched the ground. We were fine.
yeah,
Just like I said.
yeah,
Just like I said.
we survived. That's what matters. I would say for my 2025, what I'm going to do here is just go ahead and share kind of the year in review from a video perspective, because this helps me remember things as well. But one of the big things that happened for me this year is my job had been remote most of for the last many years, to be honest with you. And my job decided that my position and above, everybody had to come back to the office. So I had to make the move to Utah from Colorado Springs this year, and that's one thing that happened right in the beginning. And while it was interesting to do, and Utah's been pretty good. I do miss a lot of the stuff from Colorado. I think it was easier to get out overlanding really quickly there in places that I enjoyed overlanding, that kind of thing. So there was a lot less of that on the channel this year, and I kind of regret that, not being able to get out as much. And I had my tent was off as part of the move, and I didn't get back on until basically May. And then I left for a month, and by the time I got back, we just didn't have time for a lot of overlanding trips this year. And that's something that will change in 2026. But we have a good question here, Brian, and that is they want to know what your overlanding rig is. And it just so happens I can show what that overlanding rig is right
Yes,
here.
you can.
So Brian actually has a Jeep, and that is his. I guess there we go. I missed some of that. That's fine. Whatever. But he's got a Jeep, and we went on a pretty big trip last year. I don't know what just happened there, if that was good or bad, but I'm going to put it back here. And you were able to take your Jeep out for the first time overlanding with us on a pretty big trip out in Colorado. We did, it was about a 4-day trip. So yeah.
I mean, it was the actual overlanding was about 4 days, but the trip itself was a bit longer because you did me a solid of actually flying out to where I am and then road tripping it back with me. But no, that was an awesome trip. I would love to go back there.
Yeah, it was super fun, and we did some pretty good off-roading, I think, during that trip. Considering what we had, we also had a van with us, so we were only able to do so much stuff. And this is the van,
That's the
so we,
van.
we took the van on the trip with some friends that live in Colorado Springs, and they rented that, so we had to be kind of careful with that as well. But yeah, you got that out,
Yeah.
and as I recall, shortly after that, you got home and your tent fell off of your Jeep, if I recall correctly.
Yes, yes. The roof rack that I had on top of my Jeep, one of the supports broke, and it caused my whole rooftop tent, which is an Intrepid Geo 2.5, but it basically went all kittywampus on top of my Jeep. So I had to get the ratchet straps out and ratchet strap it through the window in the back, so that way I could keep it on my Jeep for the last couple miles to get to my house. And then my son helped me get it off of my Jeep. And sadly, I have not put it back on my Jeep since, because I also like to take the top and the doors and everything off of my Jeep and drive around like that. So that's what I did a lot of this past summer. But I've got some bigger plans for the rooftop tent come this year.
I guess one question I have there for you is, did you learn anything from that experience with the tent issue? And what do you plan on doing about it, I guess, in the future? I know what I'm thinking of when I ask you that question. You might think of something completely different, but did you learn, was there any lesson that you learned there from that, I guess?
I mean, I definitely bought less than reputable supplies. There were two items specifically that failed me. One was the roof rack that I had purchased. So you definitely don't want to skimp out on that. The cost is definitely worth it, because had I been going, 80 miles an hour down the road and the thing snaps, I would have lost my rooftop tent, and that would have been a very, very sad day.
And expensive.
Very expensive, sad day. Yes. Thankfully, I was only doing about 30 when it happened, so it wasn't a huge deal. But I don't know. I've been surprised at how some of the items that I purchased for the overlanding trip have come to be useful in other ways. But the other thing that I definitely paid didn't do a good job buying was my gas cans. I purchased two of those, and I got like old like metal jerry can styles, and yeah, no, they didn't survive the trip down the mountain. They did great for most of the trip, like going up the mountain and the whole trip. They did great, but because they seal so they don't spill, as soon as you go down the mountain, they basically just imploded and became junk. So going with
Lots of lessons learned there for sure.
yeah. So paying the extra money to get what are the brand you have? I'm sorry, is the Roto?
Rotopacks, yeah.
Rotopacks. Okay, yeah. So definitely going that route in the future.
Yeah, so we'll talk about this in the 2026 section, but we do have some plans for some trips this year as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But I just want to run through a couple things here. The year started off again with that move, basically in January to Utah for me, and from there, honestly, I was in the middle of DIY tuber stuff, or just ending some of that stuff, and then I went back into DIY tuber, and that was so much fun. I really appreciate being able to be part of that with Ivan and Will and everybody. It was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot through that. And definitely, detailing is something I love to do. It helps me kind of settle and just kind of like go to a happy place when I'm detailing, and to be able to share that with other people has been really great this year too. And you can see there's been a lot of detailing videos, and that's kind of what happened in that first part of the year for me. Was I didn't have a lot of ability to do too many other types of videos with my truck, which I wanted to do more with the Tacoma and overlanding and off-roading and just truck accessories, those types of things. I just didn't get as much into that this last year because of that, and really switched into detailing high gear for quite a while. And so that's kind of what happened there. I did do a couple of interesting things this last year too, which were some reverse osmosis systems, which were kind of fun videos to do. A lot of light reviews, which we'll talk about in a little bit. A ton of pressure washer reviews and things too. But it's been an interesting year, and we'll see where things go in 2026. But I definitely got a lot of different stuff going on there. I ended up purchasing a vehicle and then trading it in at the end of the year on something different, and so that there'll be some videos coming up about that 2026 as well. But that's kind of the year in review for me, and I've enjoyed 2025, but there were definitely a lot of challenges, and I'm definitely looking for 2026 forward to that as well. So that's my year in review in terms of the things I've done. Again, happy to take any questions from people who are online today to talk about something specific you saw or video you watched or something I said in a video. One of the other lessons I think I learned this year was trying to work full time and do a YouTube channel at the same time and make it successful. It's very difficult. I've been trying to do two videos a week, and that has, it's more of a struggle than people might realize when you're editing all that stuff, especially when the videos might be longer and you might have a couple hours of stuff to get through to get it down to something that's watchable. And that's been a struggle. And so we're going to talk a little bit about like what's happening in 2026 with that. But so that's been hard, but I've committed and generally have hit the 2 per week. There's been a couple of weeks that haven't, but I've been pretty good with that at this point. And this year I want to do a little bit more interviewing of people because I've really enjoyed those videos a lot. That was something else that happened last year that I really, really enjoyed. Even though those videos don't get a ton of views necessarily, I really enjoyed the live stream and the interviewing pieces and learning about product stuff because I'm a product manager as part of my job. So that's been pretty cool just to learn like how people think about products in different areas and how they develop them and what's worked and what hasn't, that kind of thing. So that's my year in review in terms of what just some less like things and thoughts there. Just wanted to make sure I spend time on my friends and family and get outside more. I got outside detailing a lot, but I want to get out into the woods a little bit more this next year. I think that's one thing I want to do for sure.
Now, you did get to go one overlanding trip this year, didn't you?
Yeah, and I haven't done a whole lot of videos on that yet. It's like what happens, and I think this is another great question. Have you thought about just going to once a week with a weekend morning release? And I actually do weekend morning releases for videos most of the time. I think I'm just gonna go back to Saturday mornings. That actually worked really well for my channel before I started doing the detailing stuff. And I think I'll continue doing that. And there might be a second edited video every week, or there might be like when I've got time for that, or there might be more live stream type stuff, which again, I enjoy doing. And I think it's some pretty interesting people on. Not that you're not interesting, Brian, you definitely are, but I think I can get some pretty interesting people on the channel over time as well, which will be kind of fun too, because of some success. But that's a great idea. That's my plan, is to kind of go down to that once a week. I think have a really good video so that I don't mess things up and edits are good, that kind of stuff, it's really hard to do when you're solo editing all this stuff and trying to shoot it and get it done within a very limited amount of time, a lot of times. So, so yes, I did get to go on that overlanding trip this year. We got to do the national parks, which was a lot of fun. And this is probably the only sort of video I have that has some of that stuff in it, where I've got a little bit of what we did there and kind of what we saw. And we had a blast. Misty and I just had so much fun. We do plan on doing a video on the basically on how to do the national parks the right way by overlanding and going, because if you go to the parks, you stay anywhere near them, you're gonna pay $1 bazillion for everything, and you can get just outside the parks, not that far, have amazing websites, and that we're going to do a video about that, like how people can do that, whether they're renting a unit or taking one with you. So I think that's going to be kind of fun. It's going to get Misty back on the channel and talk about that at some point. We actually have it all written up and everything. We just haven't sat down to do it, which you think we would have done, but we didn't. But this is the only video that has some footage from that trip right now, but there will be at least one more coming, and then there'll probably be more when I do my 2-year update on the Tacoma, which will be coming pretty shortly, within the next month or two as well, because it'll be 2 years in March. So great question, Brian.
And to kind of ping off of what you said earlier about people being able to rent a rig or things like that. That was the original plan when it came to going to the flat tops. Was I was going to rent a Jeep to take out there. But then I purchased my rooftop tent, so I took my own Jeep out there and everything. But your friends from Colorado Springs that rented the van,
Yep.
yeah, we had to be more careful with the van when it came to going down some certain routes and things. But really, that van performed way better than I thought it was going to when we got up there.
It did. And that's the big thing I've learned about overlanding is, if you go way back to the very beginning of this channel, you're going to see a lot of stuff with my Tucson. So I did it like one of my biggest reviews of my channel is my Hyundai Tucson review, my 1-year review of that. But I use that to do overlanding. In fact, Brian, myself, and one other friend and our dog all went overlanding in that vehicle. Now they stayed in the tent, like Brian and my other friend Ben stayed in a tent, but we all took all of our gear. We got out to a really beautiful site, and
It was amazing.
didn't wreck the vehicle or anything like that. And so you don't necessarily need a super capable vehicle. I think anything with all-wheel drive and like SUV height, you can see and do so many things. And even this last year, when Misty and I went on that trip, we some of the easy trails had some of the best campsites on them, and some of the more difficult trails had less campsites. They were just really difficult to navigate, and it was fun, but there wasn't a great place to camp. And I think that's important as well. So let's see what this it's like cartoon for detailers. If people are watching Josh B and Pan and they see your video, they may be more likely to watch it since they're in the detailing TV mode. That is true. It's 100% true. And I think, the other thing that was interesting this year that happened to me a couple times and was I had an original idea on a detailing video. I put it out, and then the other channels saw that. They took it and they did their own videos, and then they get like 20 or 100 times more views than I do or whatever. And I think and then I kind of brood and go, I wish I could have had 10,000 views on a video or something like that. But it's kind of funny. But the whole detailing space, everybody's been really, really nice in that. And there's really nobody that I haven't enjoyed working with there, and definitely it floats all boats for sure. Speaking of Pan, I think we're going to be able to get him on one of the interviews here coming up, which I think will be pretty fun. So I'm hoping that's going to happen. So got some hellos here, which people are jumping in now. Yeah, only 3 likes so far. Get them up for me. I appreciate that. That's super helpful for sure. So I think we can get into some of the again, if you have questions about anything that you saw on the channel this year or anything we talk about today, just drop them in that chat. I'll do my best to answer them. I have, I'm an expert at some things and not in others. And detailing, I'm like I don't know what I am. I'm a DIYer, but I enjoy it. And I'm a little bit above a beginner, maybe an intermediate detailer, I would say. I don't know every single chemical and how it does everything, but I can get my vehicle clean. So I guess that's good. Welcome. And we definitely appreciate people coming on and saying hello. So I guess I would start with, there's a couple things that bled in from 2024 to 2025 that I'd say that are like my product wise that are my favorite things. And I just want to point this one out, and that there are links in the descriptions of these videos if you have a truck or whatever. This one right here, I can't see anybody who has a truck who doesn't benefit from this product. And it's the T-Mat truck bed slide. This thing is unreal. It is so easy to install. It's so easy to pull out. It's so easy to clean. I'm going to do some cleaning videos on this because mine's a little bit dirty. I want to show people how that works, but there's so many accessories for it. And it does allow you to slide all of your items from, the back to the front of your truck bed and be able to access them and keep everything in one spot. And I just think this is, if you have a truck, for the price that you're going to pay for this thing, which is between $250 and $300, it's like, why would you not buy this? There are other truck bed slides that can take a lot of weight and they have rollers and all that kind of stuff, but you lose a lot of space in your bed. This is just dead simple, and you can reconfigure it as much as possible. So I think that's one of the things that I really have enjoyed using in my truck. And I think everybody who owns a truck should just buy one, and you'll be happy that you did. There's just so many cool accessories for that as well. So that's definitely one. I don't know if anybody else on who's on in the comments, if you have used this before or seen one or whatever, like, what do you think of it? I think that'd be something I'd be interested in as well. So And Brian, I
So
don't know if
then
you've got to play around with this or not, but it's pretty cool.
I haven't seen it up close or anything. No, but you saying this isn't on rollers at all?
No,
Oh.
it's just a 3D printed bed mat essentially. So it's all plastic, and then those little X's, like they correspond, to the different accessories that kind of sit down in there, and they just hold everything right there where they're supposed to be. And there's a bunch of new accessories that you can do, bucket holders, so for detailing stuff like that. But we also use a bucket for like our trash and our waste when we go camping, so we can put that bucket in that spot. It doesn't go anywhere without having to tie everything down, which is nice. Not that you can't still tie it down if you think you need to, but we haven't done that, and everything stayed exactly where it's supposed to be, and it's been really good. They also have a wheel one, so you can, like, if you have a wheeled cart, you can put that back in there, and that works really well. It's a great system. So I think if anybody owns a truck, that's the first thing that I think I would go for there. Just pick one up, you'll like it. Anything else? Like, let's switch to you. Like, any products this year that you thought you're particularly excited about or you're really loving? I think there might even be one in your room right now, actually. So
I do have a couple of items that I've become a big fan of. One of which is I think it's pronounced Egratech, but this is literally just a power bank. It's quite small, but it's got all sorts of inputs for the back as far as being able to connect different things. There's a light on the front, and I actually found this particular one because I had seen a video of a gentleman that I believe it's called adventure biking. It's kind of the motorcycle version of overlanding, and he found this and he's like, it fits right in my saddlebag. It's perfect, and so I picked this up. I used it on our trip last year. And it was great, and I've used it whenever I go on trips now. It's even come in handy in connection with the nice Devos light here.
Devos.
But how do you pronounce it? Say it right.
Devos.
Because apparently I can't. I've tried. It's 5 letters, and I can't do it.
I mean, Devos is generally, I think, how it's said, but it doesn't really matter. People understand. It's really cool.
I like the product, but no, like I said, it actually came in handy way more than I thought, because not once but twice in the couple of years that I've lived here now, or almost couple of years that I've lived here, somebody has slid into the ditch and hit a power line and cut power to my house. So I was able to, do just fine with a single light, and still be able to charge up my things if anything was low during the time that the power was out.
And I think just to kind of encapsulate that, these are also some of my absolute favorite products. They are virtually indestructible. You can literally run them over with your vehicle and they'll still work. They are waterproof. They're great for camping, especially. It's kind of where they, like that one that I'm touching actually in this video right now. That's actually the Light Ranger 2000, and it's a camp light. It automatically changes to red and to orange, so you don't need any filters that you need to put on it or anything like that. It's dimmable. There's a ton of great accessories with that as well, and it's really, really, all three of these are good, and they have a ton of other lights. They've got some new ones that are coming in 2026 as well. So really love these lights a lot, and that they're USB-C chargeable, and they last several hours, even at the highest amount. And I use them in the garage. I use them in the basement. I use them overlanding and camping. So I use them in the backyard to light things as well when it gets dark. So they're, you can use them anytime. And like you said, they're great for emergencies as well. So it's not just that. Yeah. Even Rue likes them. Look at her.
I actually had
this clip here.
Oh, sorry.
That's right.
But no, I actually had one other thing. I wasn't expecting it to be a benefit, but it worked out in our favor. I did go on a fishing trip with a bunch of guys from my church, and we all brought our kids. So we're sitting around the fire, making s'mores and stuff like that, and we were just getting bombarded by all sorts of moths. And I actually took the light and I set it way off to the side, put it as high as I could, turned it on, and all the moths went over there, and we weren't bothered. So that was an unexpected little perk of the light as well.
Yes, when you can change the colors, you can also change the color so that you don't attract the bugs too. That's another option. So there's
the light wasn't attracting we weren't using the light initially. It was just the firelight.
Yes.
From the campfire.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So question here was, does the truck bed move while you're driving? And, it doesn't in my truck. And the reason for that is it is dead tight from front to back. So it could, I suppose, move side to side, but it's actually pretty tight right in between the wheel wells as well. So it really doesn't move at all. But it doesn't have any space to move once the truck the tailgate's shut. So it doesn't mine doesn't move at all. And there you can kind of see in this picture here, there are the bigger grids and then there's smaller pieces here. And they even have like this on that box there to the left side of the box in the front, there are new like there are little ramps you can put up in the front. So if you have extra space where it would slide, you can put those things on instead. It's quite configurable to sizes. Now it may not be perfect in every instance, but mine doesn't slide around at all in mine. And they have different kits for different size vehicles as well. So yeah, it's pretty crazy what they've come up with here and how good that product is. But that's a great question. So thanks for asking it. Yeah, so Devos, those are two big ones I've really appreciated this year. Yeah, you're welcome for that answer, not a problem. And looking at some other things that I think are less expensive than some of those things. You talked about some battery, like your battery pack that you really like, and I reviewed this one this year from, I guess it's a News Me Power, and honestly, we use this every single day in our house. It sits next to my couch and I power all my devices with it. And then typically I'll take it outside when it gets low and I'll just use a solar panel to recharge it. I'll just set it out for a day and let it recharge. And then I go again. You can recharge it from the wall or, or car or whatever too. But this little power bank powers, it's probably it's at least several days, if not entire weeks worth of power for all my, my phone or my headphones or those types of things. My watches, they're all powered there. And that 100-watt solar panel is one of the only solar panels I've seen that's actually 100 watts. Like when I'm charging something, you're in the 90s. It's crazy. Many solar panels will claim like 200 and they'll be like 150 or something like that. So that's another, just kind of playing off of what you said there. I really like that thing a lot. And if you want to check that out, there's obviously more videos out there too about that.
Yeah. I remember it sitting next to your couch when I was there.
Yep. You probably even charged your device with it.
I believe I did.
So trying to stick with the overlanding theme this year, some other things, overlanding or vehicle. I definitely think, like the last fit floor liners have been great in all the vehicles I've had them in. They fit perfect within the vehicle. And I've really been very impressed with that. I'm hoping I can get some for my new vehicle, but it's so new they don't have them fitted for that vehicle yet. In fact, I'm kind of hoping I can get a set of these at some point for that vehicle, just to keep all the hair off the back where the dog sits and stuff like that. But super easy to clean and they fit perfectly, and they're really great floor mats, and they're less expensive than like WeatherTech, that kind of thing too, which is nice. So I was really happy with all those. Both for the Santa Fe that I had and sold, and the Tacoma has them as well. So I think, if you're looking for something like that, it's a great gift for people too who don't have some of those things.
What was the brand again? I'm sorry.
Last Fit.
Okay.
Last Fit.
Gotcha.
And then I think the other thing, you and I both picked this up this year. You picked it up based upon this review, but this is just something like anybody will benefit from if they own a vehicle.
Yes.
And that is having a way to refill your tires, so a tire inflator, and a way to jump start it. And this is both those things in one. And whether, so if you don't have one, just these are definitely worth picking up. They keep a charge for quite a long time, even if you just keep them in your vehicle. So about every 3 months, you charge it back up and you're good to go. And you can set like a calendar reminder. That's what I do, just to got to charge that up, make sure it's good to go for the next trip. And my wife has one of those. I've got one in both vehicles. And this is just, it's a great idea. It's so much easier than like carrying around it's not easier, but it to me, it's a little bit better than carrying around alligator cables, because if you don't have another car, you can't restart your vehicle with this. You can, if you're parked nose first into a spot and you can't get the other car close enough with traditional cables. Again, this works in that instance as well. It's done a really good job. But I don't know what you thought of that when you purchased yours, what you thought of it as well. So
I haven't actually used it myself, but but no, I like the fact that it was tire inflator and battery jump start all in one. I mean, it's got the flashlight on there as well. I have two kids that drive, so I immediately bought each of them one, so that way they could keep them in their car in case of emergency. So yeah, when I saw that, I was like, definitely grabbing those.
And I have a couple different ones of those as well, but that's the one I think is the nicest for the money. And the reason I had Brian tell that story a little while ago about the Jeep is we are on opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to products, I would say. So um, I see a product, and I'm looking for generally a really good quality product, and I'll pay extra for that, and I'm okay with it. And if I can, I prefer American brands when I can get that because, and those are almost always more expensive, even if they have to produce overseas. Like that's not a problem. You can't get that in every case, and that's fine. But I think it's important to do that. Whereas I think your model for things is, I saw this really cool thing on Instagram, and I went to find on Amazon the cheapest version of it that I could, and then I bought that, and it broke. And then sometimes it works out, and it works out for you, and it's not a problem. But I think we get into that like, what's the cheapest version of this thing on Amazon, and sometimes that works out. And I do have some of that content on my channel, and you'll see a little bit more of that, because when you're just getting into something for the first time, like detailing, and you're buying your first pressure washer, you don't necessarily want to spend $300 for an active or something like that. And I get that. So there's definitely a place and time for all that. But then there are some companies that produce really good quality things. If you're looking for that, something that's going to give you better longevity, you're going to use it a lot. That's important too. And I try to talk about those things in my videos, like, as much as I can. But I think it was a good story, right? Like, you bought this thing, and I was like, because I think I sent you something. I was like, hey, you should buy this one from this company. You're like, yeah, whatever. I'm buying this one that's like several $100 less, and then your tent almost falls off. So it's kind of like a great. I don't even have to say I told you so, but it was kind of interesting. So,
well, so I mean, to better explain the roof rack, the garage that I had at the time, I've moved since, was a low garage. I didn't have a lot of space. So like once I got the tires on there for doing the overlanding, and got the roof rack on there, I needed a roof rack that I could actually adjust the height on, because I didn't want to put the thing on in my garage and then be stuck in my garage. I didn't want to be that guy. So the particular one that I bought, I could adjust the height of the crossbars. And when I adjusted the height, after getting it out of the garage, I didn't adjust the supports, and that was the crux of my problem. Oh, you're mute.
as I recall, you also dented your vehicle.
There was a gouge, not so much
Yeah.
a dent, but definitely a gouge on the roof of my Jeep when that happened. Yes.
So anyway,
Thank you for
that's
bringing that up.
Yep. That's my when you see products, I'm like there are some less expensive things, and there are times and places for those things too. So it's trying to mix that. It's hard on the channel, because the stuff that really sells, if I wanted to make a ton of money off of this, I would just have a lot of cheap things that people would buy on Amazon, and that's where that's how you would make the most money. Um, but I really try to showcase products that I think are worth purchasing, or if they're not. And I have bought some things. I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna put this on the channel. It's not even worth putting it on there, because it doesn't work, or it's some cheap thing that people might not come across. If it's something like that's people should know about, don't buy this. But everybody's buying this thing, but you shouldn't. Then I would definitely talk about why you wouldn't do that. But I haven't really come across too much of that. So a couple things I think as we delve now from the overlanding side. Like I said, it was a little bit light this year. Next year is going to be a little bit better. Products in some other categories. There's a couple that I love technology, and I don't talk about it much on this channel, but I wanted to bring up a few things I think are really important. If you're wanting to document your life, or you want to start a YouTube channel, or you just want to make some videos or whatever, and things that I don't talk about too often that I think are important and you should get them while you can. And I'll put some links in for this stuff. And that is, if you're going to get into any kind of video stuff, try to buy the DJI stuff before it's gone. Now, this is supporting a Chinese company, and I realize that's kind of like anti what I just said. But as far as making solo content creation easy as possible, DJI is really good. And obviously, Insta is coming out with some stuff, and their stuff is pretty good too. Also, a Chinese company. They're still more available, but the DJI mics and the DJI cameras, whether you're looking at like the Pocket series, like this one, and you'll see that in different videos. So a lot of times, if you see a blurred background or something where it focuses really well, that's generally I'm using this camera for that. But for the
Does
most
that one
part,
do
I
motion
use
testing as well?
it also tracks. Yeah, it'll do motion tracking as well, which is great. But the one that I use, the other two that I use a lot, or if you're just going to buy one camera and you weren't really sure what you wanted to use it for, and you didn't need something like that, this one here, this is the Nano. This camera is fantastic because it declips from the main body of the camera, and it comes with a hat clip. So you're seeing when I'm doing my POV videos, this is the camera I'm using for that. It also has a chest magnet, so you could attach it here if you wanted to. And this thing is just so good for capturing just interesting angles on stuff like that. But it can also be a really good just normal camera because it does, it gives you the screen and everything like that. And you can turn this either way, so you can see what's in the frame, or you can be filming something, from behind the camera as well, which is pretty cool. So I really like the DJI cameras a ton. That one is a good one. And then the other one that I use the most often now is the DJI Action 6, and I had the 5 Pro before this. But this one will do a little bit of that camera blurring. And the only advantage to this one is if you want to be able to put stuff on both Instagram and on YouTube where you need multiple different views, it's a little bit easier to edit that video. But if you don't need that, then buy the 5 or the Nano and you're good to go. So I just wanted to kind of talk about those a little bit. They're really good image quality. They have lots of different options in them. But the biggest thing is buy the mics with them because they just pair directly to the mic. And you can do 2 mics for one camera. So you can have 2 people on it, which is pretty cool. And these mics aren't really that expensive. The minis are really inexpensive, and they work with these really well. This is the DJI Mic 3, and it's a little bit nicer, but I think the mini is all you need is like one of these cameras and a set of the minis, and you're really good to go. Just want to talk about that a little bit because I don't talk about that on my channel very often. If people want to see more tech reviews or that kind of thing, or talking more about that kind of stuff, I'd really like to know that. So put that in the comments if you'd be interested to see more of behind the scenes or camera reviews, things like that. I think that kind of leads us into detailing. I have a lot of stuff to talk about that we could talk about there. When's the last time you washed your Jeep, by the way? I'm just curious.
The last time I washed it myself,
Yeah,
it's been a bit.
I bet.
I think it was probably just before Halloween.
Okay, so not too bad. I thought you were going to
Yeah.
tell me like July, but
No, and I will do some touch-up stuff, but as far as like doing a full clean, it's probably been since around Halloween.
okay, fair enough. Do you have any products you're really loving detailing that you just your go-to things?
I do have one particular one that was actually one that I think you did the video. I think you did the video here. I know we definitely used it here, and you took some shots. I just don't remember if there was some additional videos that you shot elsewhere. But it was the glove box detailing service that we kind of went over, and it was, honestly, that was just super simple to use as far as being able to get the chemicals exactly right, because they come in their own spray. Like when you buy the initial box, it comes with 4 spray bottles and 4 chemicals, and basically you fill the bottle up to the line that's built into the bottle, and then yeah, you literally, like, I grabbed it because I knew this was probably going to come up, knowing you. Like you've got your bottle, it's got a line on it that you fill the water up to, and then literally the chemicals all come in these little tubes here that are all the exact right ratio for water and whatnot. You literally just drop them in. This one here is for interior cleaning. I'll actually be using it later today. But you literally drop it in, and when you screw this on, there's going to be a little click. And then once that clicks, it's going to cause the chemicals to start. This isn't the most colorful chemical to show on camera, but the chemical basically drops out through there and mixes in with the water. The other one for just cleaning the actual outside of the Jeep, and then also one for doing windows. And it's very not user friendly weather here right now, with all the rain and snow and ice, sand and salt. But inside the garage, I'll wipe things down from time to time, and even when I'm even like, I'll use this stuff in my kitchen as far as like cleaning the surfaces of my appliances and stuff like that too. It works really well.
Yeah, you like this as a beginner because you didn't have to think about anything. You had a you had a rag that matched the color of the chemical, and you knew exactly what to use with what. They
Right.
were decent quality rags as well. They were Korean rags. These were mostly from the rag company, I believe. So they were decent quality, and you were pretty impressed with this kit, as I recall.
Yeah, I mean, back when, I mean, I talk about technology again real quick. Back when technology used to claim it was plug and play, like super easy, this is basically plug and play detailing. Like you literally just hook it all up. It's all, I mean, even the towels are color coordinated for what you're doing, so they match the chemical.
Which is nice,
Yes.
very nice. And it's easy for somebody like you who's just getting started, and you're like a casual detailer. You like
Yeah.
the results, but you don't love doing it. And it's one of the reasons that you kind of like rinseless as well was easier. You were kind of like, oh, I didn't know you could do it this way. So
Yep.
yeah, yeah, super cool.
So I don't reach a moment of zen like you do when you're doing it,
True.
but I definitely appreciate the results once it's done.
That's fair. So I think a couple things. I didn't obviously bring them in here because I don't think it was going to be super helpful. But I did a bunch of different pressure washer reviews this year, and I actually want to talk a little bit about that because I think it's kind of important. Like this, I'm going to play this one here in the background. Like um, of the ones that I like in this case as a YouTube detailer here, these are three different units that I used, and I bought the Westinghouse, I bought the Ryobi, and I like this one. The Your York was sent to me, and I don't get a lot of pressure washers sent to me, to be truthful with you. So I'm buying a lot of this stuff. So there's only so much you can do because when you go to sell something like this on Facebook, if I bought it for $100, I'm not going to sell it for $100. Like there's about 12,000 pressure washers on Facebook, so I'm not going to be making much money on the sale of that. And with the Westinghouse, definitely, some people bought that. I made some money off of it, on Amazon. So like, if I made $5 per for every $100 or something like that, I might have made like $25 or something like that. I think from money off of the Westinghouse specifically. So it's something to think about. When people are doing these reviews and they purchase the stuff, it's a big deal. Now, I purchased the Ryobi as well. The Ryobi had like 10,000 views, I want to say, something like that. One of the better performing videos I had on my channel. And you would think, man, I made a ton of money off of that. I didn't. And then the reason for that is Home Depot's affiliate program. Like I applied for it, and they just rejected me immediately. I never got into it. So I didn't make any money off of direct sales from that pressure washer. And I maybe made $20 or $30, maybe up to 50 throughout the year or something like that from the actual views in the video. And that's just something to keep in mind. I don't think people always realize like the economics of some of this stuff, but I enjoyed doing the videos. It was cool. And I hopefully I helped people make a decision on what was right for them. What I would say about these, and I actually have another pressure washer I just bought, but it's like 30 degrees out right now. So it's not likely I'm going to be doing the comparison anytime soon. But I'm hoping to compare it against that Ryobi because I think it might be a candidate for people who want a decent pressure washer but really want to upgrade the accessories and get closer to that price range. But I actually like the Westinghouse because I was going to upgrade. If it was me, I would upgrade those accessories anyway. And I think a lot of people who buy one of these budget pressure washers, if they don't get something like the Ryobi that has some decent accessories from it from the beginning, I think one of the reasons you don't enjoy washing your vehicle and you don't want to do it is because the accessories that those things come with are terrible. They're just awful. And Umberto's here. I haven't talked to Umberto in forever, so I hope he's doing well. Hello, Umberto. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by today. But I think that's a big reason for a lot of people just not washing their vehicle as often is if you get a nice short gun, you get a decent foam cannon and a decent hose, even if you don't get quick connects and all that kind of stuff, I think in general, you're going to enjoy you'll just have more fun doing it. And what's cool about the Ryobi is it comes with a lot of that stuff. And you get the short gun, you get at least a long enough hose to go around your vehicle. The foam cannon is not great. You pretty much need to replace that on all of these units, even the active ones. That foam cannon is not great, but that's not a bad place to start. But I do think even then you might want to upgrade the hose still, and you might still want to upgrade the gun because it's kind of plasticky. But maybe you don't, right? Like everybody's a little bit different. So trying to let people know what's right for them. I think that's a big deal there.
I think honestly, the simplest and easiest upgrade you can do is get those quick connects.
Yeah, I mean that works on almost all pressure washers, except for the first one you bought.
Because
so that
you're really going to dig this in, aren't you? Where I buy cheap.
You didn't. Well, you buy cheap, but you can buy cheap and still get the connection. You just didn't know that. I didn't put that on you.
That one,
that's not on you. It's you didn't see that didn't have a M22 connector, and it had a proprietary connector, which made it you really could upgrade the hose, and that was the unfortunate part about that one. But you got a nice pressure washer out of it eventually anyway. So
yes, and actually, I actually prefer the Westinghouse style of pressure washer over the one that is kind of the cart style on wheels.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Yeah.
Where I set it down is where it's going to be. I don't have to worry about it like rolling somewhere while I'm trying to wrangle the hose. I don't have to worry about it tipping over, and it's a lot easier to maneuver it for use in other things, like when I cleaned off the side of my house or blew the leaves out of my gutters.
Yep. So, I would recommend the Westinghouse to people still. I know a couple people have bought them and, I think really like them. I would recommend the Ryobi too. It was hard to find. I've had some people reach out and say they've had problems, but when you sell that many units, which I think they sold a lot of, there's going to be some that are a problem. I really still prefer the active pressure washers as somebody who washes their vehicle a lot more often. And like the Active 2.0, I think is a really good sweet spot and is a pretty great pressure washer, and it will last. It should last longer than any of these other ones because it was built to go to like 200 to 250 hours. That may not be the case for everybody. Sometimes you get a bad unit or something happens like that. That's all part of the game. Every person has a little bit different experience with it, but for entry level, I think they're pretty good. And I have this new one out that I'm hoping to be able to review when it warms up enough to compare against the Ryobi and see if that's actually a better way to go. And by the way, talking about cheap, it was only $71 on Amazon, so you can't beat that. $71. So we'll see. Moving away from that, a couple of things I think chemical wise. One of the things that I discovered in 2024, you and I discovered this together. We did our first rinseless wash together, and we did not do a good job. We had never used rinseless wash before, and we washed your Jeep and we washed a boat, and we pretty much used the entire 16-ounce bottle. And realistically, you should not have that. Shouldn't have been a problem. We shouldn't have done that. So one of the things we did was we tried to spray on the rinseless, and that was just something we learned. I wouldn't do that again. There are some good hybrid chemicals that will work for that, but that's not really the purpose of it. So we tried to foam it. So whatever. We learned a lesson on that one. But since then, rinseless has become definitely one of my favorite ways to go with washing. And I think the reason for that is it's just quick. You can get it done in 20 minutes. It's really, really quick. So one thing I've been thinking about doing video wise was, do people care about like, what are my thoughts on different rinseless washes? Again, let me know in the comments of that. Like if I were going to tell you which one to buy and which use case, because I have 3 of them here, right? So I've got the Clean by Pan, I've got the DIY Detail, and I've got the Nemesis from Detail Co. And those are the 3 that I've used. I will probably use more this next year and give them a try and whatnot. But the thing is, I'd tell anybody to buy any one of these 3. They clean your vehicle. That's what they're supposed to do. And that's the number one thing. And if you say, well, what's different between them? This is my opinion. I'm going to tell you today what I think. I think DIY Details is just a great cleaner that leaves absolutely nothing behind when you're done. So if you have coated your vehicle, and you want that to shine through and nothing else, the DIY detail rinseless for me is the best way to go. And I've tested these on my countertops as well because I've used them all there. And this one just it's not as slick as the other two, but it does a great job with cleaning. And so I think that's kind of a cool part there. I think Clean by Pan smells the best to me, although I really like this one too. They all smell pretty good, but it smells really good. And this one is the slickest for me of the ones that I've used. I think it's the slickest overall, and does add a little bit of gloss as well. So it leaves a little bit of something behind, and works really well. Great cleaner. And then this one just surprised me. It's the least expensive. So if you're just getting into rinseless and you weren't really sure, I would definitely recommend the Nemesis, especially V2. It cleans really well, but boy, does it leave a ton of gloss behind. And there's some slickness there too, but the gloss is just ridiculous for a rinseless. So I was very impressed by that. So, if you're ever wondering, well, what do you think of the three and whatnot? I'm just giving you some thoughts there. But I would recommend any of them to anybody because I think they do the job. And yeah, I think, this is another great point from Umberto here. With rinseless, you can do the inside of your vehicle by just dampening a towel, wiping everything down, and maybe take another towel after that, and that's it. Like, takes 10 minutes to wipe down the inside of your vehicle. You can use it in the house. You can use it everywhere on the vehicle. It's really, really, really quick, and you're only using a little bit at a time. So even a 16-ounce bottle is going to last you a long time as a DIYer. So I think that's a great point as well. And I know you've been using rinseless a little bit there too. So rinseless is probably one of my favorite things that I've used and really gotten good at in 2025. It took me a little bit of time to learn the technique that worked best for that, but I've really enjoyed that a lot. And then, there's two other things here. I tried for the first time one of these glass cleaning wands, or two of them. This is the first time I've ever used any of these, and I have both this one and the one from so this is the Autofiber one, the Reacher tool, and then this one here is from Invisible Glass. They both work great, and they make, especially truck or truck or van or anything, if you're short and you can't reach things, these are fantastic, and they do a great job on the interior of being able to get into the right up into the windshield. So I was actually pretty impressed by those. I'd never tried one before. They work great. If you have a good glass towel and a good glass cleaner, I think you're good to go there. So I really like that.
So that gets in like the nooks and crannies by the dashboard?
Yeah, it does. It does a really good job with that. And it makes it so much easier. And they each have extensions on them, but they basically take a broom handle at the end. So you can make them super long if you have an RV or a boat or something like that, which is great. And yeah. So Umberto's saying he also likes Phoenix EOD Hydra, and that's one I've been looking at. So I think I might give that a try this year and see what I think of that too. But we live in just a weird time of just so many amazing chemicals right now that it's, and just detailing tools, that's just nuts. Like, it's hard to go wrong if you pick a good company. It's just hard to go wrong, for sure. And then towels for me, I think anything from the House of Rags. I've loved every single towel from the House of Rags. I've got the Weapon of Mass Drying towels coming. I'm really excited for that. The WMD towels. So those are on the way. I've got some Diva Rinseless V2s that are coming. Those are going to be cool, and a bunch of other of the Detail Co products. And I'm going to try to feature those a little bit because I think they're a really great beginner chemical, but they're also great for advanced users. But they're a good place to start with detailing because they're a little on a more expensive, the least expensive end of things, but they really do a great job. So I'm going to try to feature some of those a little bit in the beginning part of the year this year. And then I would say my detailing innovation of the year, the thing that I'm most excited to keep using right now, I only have been able to use it one time so far in the truck, is this the Perfectly Safe brush. And this thing makes the truck, cleaning the truck, so much easier because you can extend this out. You can use it with rinseless. It's best to use it with a traditional wash and suds, but you can use it with rinseless. You can, either way, it doesn't matter. But just so much quicker because it's when you have a lifted vehicle, and even when you're on top of the ladder, being able to get all the way across just saves you time. And I'm excited to use this a lot more. I think this is a pretty solid innovation. It is perfectly safe on your paint. It won't scratch it. And it's kind of it's even softer, I would say, than the tire brush, which I also love, and that is super soft. So That's a big deal. When you get yours though, make sure you dunk it in some water and dry it out, or like rinse it really good to get all the sort of fibers out. That's my sort of key tip with that. Because we'll leave a little bit of linting behind the first time you use it. So that's kind of the big ones. I don't know. I've been leaving this other thing kind of play in the background because a lot of the stuff I've been talking about is on there. So it's kind of been easy to do. The other thing, that I really enjoyed about 2025 for me personally is how much I've been able to detail with other people. And I've really enjoyed those videos as well. And I'm hoping to continue to do that. And then I guess the one I wanted to mention that I forgot about is Envy. That stuff is so good. Like if you're just looking for the ability to add some slickness, some gloss, some water beading, and a little bit of protection on your vehicle without doing a full ceramic coating, Envy was really pretty impressive. It lasted basically an entire month without any washing on a daily driven vehicle. And if you reapply monthly or so, I think it'll be pretty good. And we did that in the wash clay seal. If you applied it to dry paint, I think it would last even longer. And really forgiving to put on too. I really like that one as well. And I just want to, Umberto's also saying, washing with microfiber towels with a Thor chemical is good. And that's true. I've tried that a few times. The microfiber towels are a good way to go. There's so many different ways to wash as well. There's not one perfect way. It's like whatever way works for you. So I did want to mention Envy because I do really like that a lot as a chemical.
So how many people have you been able to teach DIY techniques week 2?
Let's see. You, Misty, 4 neighbors, Colin, my nephew, 6, 7 people, I think, something like that. Okay. And one thing I would say for people, if you end up watching this, there's not a lot of people watching anymore at this point. It's gone on for a while. But if you're watching this and you're in the Utah area and you want to learn how to detail, hit me up on Instagram or whatever. We'll work something out. We'll figure it out. And I'll, if I can record it, we can figure that out. And if I can't, maybe, there'll be a fee involved or something like that. But I would love to be able to teach more people with that. I don't want it to be expensive, but time is time. And if it's recorded, it's kind of cool. Yeah.
I do still laugh about when I was over there this past summer. You got the knock on the door, and there was the young man that had just taken up doing detailing.
Yeah.
And he's like, can I detail your car? And you're like, actually, I kind of do this on my own. And you even pitched like teaching him some techniques.
I did, and he never got back to me. But if he's watching now and if he wants to come and try some stuff out, I'm happy to do that. So, yeah. So anyway, 2026, heading into that, there's a couple things that I think are important and a couple things I'm thinking about trying in the future. One, I updated my website recently. And when I did this, I started thinking, I feel like there's a lot of small businesses out there that could really use some help on their websites. And I would love to be able to help those people out. So if you want help on creating your website or updating it and making it look good, that kind of thing, I'm happy to give some help to give you the skill to be able to do that on your own. So you don't have to pay somebody else. You don't just have to use like a template from Squarespace or whatever. This was all done. This is all coded in the back end, and I did it with AI. So I used AI to help me do this, but this is pretty sweet. I'm kind of proud of this site because it pulls data straight from YouTube, and it loads on load. It's going to pull my subscriptions, how many views I have on my channel. I have a latest video you can even click on the products to buy them right from here, which is pretty cool. That's all automatic from the videos itself. So if there are links in there, they're there for you to use. They're the affiliate links. I also was able to create this pretty cool image here with some of the different things. It's an interactive build where you can click on that and see that product and the different pieces there, which I thought was kind of cool. And then, just the overall, if you're looking for where are my links, this is a good spot to do that. It's just beninbeta.com. So if people are out there and they're thinking about they want to be able to have a better website or have more control over their website and what's there and what's being pulled, that kind of thing, and you want a little bit of advice, I might do some advising with that. But I wanted to pitch my website because I think it's pretty cool. There's some pretty cool people on it too. And I suppose I wasn't sharing my screen during that entire time, which I wasn't. So I'm going to go ahead and just share this as we talk through the rest of it. So this is my website. And I didn't share the screen, but I wanted to show it to you. So there you go. Again, just pulling those subscriptions. and all the data where you can click on the links for everything here. So you can kind of see what that looks like, benandbeta.com. Pretty excited about that, and pulled the logo colors, all that kind of stuff as well. So Umberto's asking, so Dan is saying that clean rinseless is really good. I agree with him. I think it's great. And some people have gotten to try it. Some people have not. But I know Pan is updating a lot of his stuff. And so I'm hoping to talk to him a little bit about that when we have him on, and like thoughts around updates and why he might update to V2 and that kind of thing. And then there's a question for you. Which products did you like so far? Brian, so I'll let you answer that really quickly.
Yeah, well, I mean, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but as far as like the detailing piece goes, I definitely like the glove box products, just because of the fact that they're so just, what's the acronym KISS? Keep it simple, stupid. That's kind of my wheelhouse. And like, getting refills on this stuff, it isn't going to be coming in a big box anymore, because it's literally just the little tubes that'll come in the mail. So it'll be just a nice small little package, and drop them in. I'm good to go again. So definitely still using that, and plan on continuing to use it for sure. That's on the detailing side, anyways.
Yep. And then you said you also liked the Devos Light Ranger line of lights as a product as well. So
and the Wolf box I got for my kids, so that way.
And the Wolf box.
Yep. Big fan of those.
So into 2026, a couple things have happened. So I work at a company, or a university called Western Governors University, and I'm a lead academic product manager. I have been for the last 3 years for the IT programs there. So I help build and design the programs, make sure that they're the best experience possible for students. That's what my job is there, to try to make it as good as possible, make sure there's value and return on investment. That's what I've been doing. Now, recently, and I just want to put this up here, Umberto says, excellent quality products, easy to manage. So glove box is good. So shout out there.
Yep.
So recently my boss retired, and when she retired, I was made the de facto acting director so one job above mine, and I get to do my job at the same time. So I get to do both jobs, a higher level job and my job, for the foreseeable future. And that means I'm just going to be that much busier, which is why I had talked about, trying to maybe change my strategy up for video creation a little bit this year, where I'm going to do something every weekend. So I think every Saturday morning there'll be a new video, and that might switch up between detailing and it might switch up between detailing and overlanding, or just vehicle videos and that kind of stuff. So I think that's going to happen. And then there might be some weeks that are going to have 2 videos at release. There are going to be a few things that might be more like live stream type content, where I'm doing some interviews and that kind of thing, because I really enjoy those. They don't get a ton of views, but I enjoy them. So I think that's something that's coming. So we'll see more of Jamie and Eddie for sure. I believe Pan will be coming on at some point. I got some people on the overlanding side I want to bring onto the channel and talk to them about. But I also would love to know from other people, from the people who watch the channel, who would you like to see on the channel? Who would you like to see interviewed? Because I'm going to ask different questions, product-driven questions, and different things than I think other people will. We can show off products, that kind of thing too. But I also like to talk through, like, why did you design this? How did you design it? That kind of thing, like business stuff too. So people need to understand. I think it's kind of interesting to hear about those things. So I plan on doing more of that this year too.
Yeah, like that, and like, when it comes to prototyping, but like, how many iterations were there before you actually got one that could go to market?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And I think people will enjoy that. Whether it takes off or not, I don't know. But if you like that kind of stuff, share it out to let people know when somebody's going to be on that you think is going to be interesting. So that's one thing that's going to happen this year. The next thing that I think is really important is Misty and I will be definitely getting out more often to do some overlanding. So you're going to see more of that kind of content, maybe like where to overland in Utah, how to do it the right way for national parks. That's going to be like how to overland the national parks and just enjoy that a little bit more, even with a family. So I think we're going to talk about some of those types of things. There'll be more products in and around that. I've got one truck upgrade for the Tacoma coming on Saturday. There's going to be more of that content too. I am looking for a company who might want to work with me to do some suspension upgrades to the Tacoma, because my biggest problem right now is I have a ton of weight on the back with the tent, and the Kuat system, which I also love. Is one of my favorite products, but that was like really a 2024 product, which is why I didn't mention it this year. But I love that system as well.
Yeah.
But that right there is almost 300 pounds. That's constantly on the back of my vehicle. And the suspension, like it needs either a preload or something like that, or just a little bit more suspension. I don't want to lift it much more than what it is, but something that can handle the weight a little bit better. So we'll kind of see, what that might look like there. But those are some plans there. And then we have at least one big trip, you and I and Misty and maybe some other people, who knows, might join in a big trip that we have planned, that it's going to start in Colorado and go all the way to Utah over a number of days, which should be kind of fun as well. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah. Yeah. And
I think that's the big overlanding trip that's in the works right now. Hoping to do some smaller ones here around Wisconsin myself. I'm currently working with my brother, who's a shop teacher, so he has all the fun toys. Currently working with him to try and actually create like a DIY trailer that I can put my rooftop tent on. That way I can kind of have my cake and eat it too situation, so I can take my rooftop tent wherever I want to go. I can throw stuff in that trailer, and then I can take the top off my Jeep whenever it's a nice day, even though according to Ben here, that only happens about 5 days in Wisconsin.
Yeah, you don't
I'm
get
pretty
very
sure
many
there are
nice days
more.
there. That's true.
Being here, I think I know, but according to Ben, it's only like 5 days. Still worth it.
That's true. So Umberto, I just want to put this back up. He said, not everyone has the same opportunity for overlanding. And actually, what some of the things we want to address on the channel is that you can rent something when you go. If you're going to go do the national parks and you fly into Salt Lake City or to Utah, we want to talk about how you can do that overlanding by renting something on a couple of different sites and being able to overland without having to buy all the stuff, but just enjoy it. And that's actually, to me, one of the best ways to overland, I think, because you're not spending a ton of money on it, and it can cost more than a hotel if you do it kind of crazy, I suppose, renting stuff, but it can cost a lot less, and you can go places where you would never be able to go with just a regular vehicle, without the stuff to be able to camp and things, because you need all that, and it comes with all those things. So we want to do make it more accessible for people as well, and try to do that, which was one of the plans we had earlier when we were going to do our that initial overlanding trip. We were going to actually feature a company and do that. So maybe this year I'll try to reach out to some companies in the area that feature some overlanding, or I'll rent something and give that a try to show you what that's like too. I think that might be kind of fun, or we might have some friends that do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
So
if we get some more people to go along on this Colorado to Utah trip later this year, chances are one of them are going to be renting a vehicle.
Yep. And I think the other thing then is I did get a new vehicle this year, which is this Kia Sportage Hybrid. And so I'm going to plan a bunch of different content in around that, how to use it, that kind of stuff. There's obviously going to be some detailing videos. I've already put a stack on here and just haven't done the video yet because it's a lot of editing. It was 2 days worth of work to get it all done. But definitely going to be talking about some of that. Going to delve more into just why you want to detail your off-roader and how to do that, how to keep it clean and looking good when you're not off-road, that kind of thing. So I think there's going to be, some of those coming as well. And how do you protect your vehicle too, right? There's some different options to do that. Even though I haven't put a full PPF coating, you can do those things to protect your vehicle from scratches and stuff like that. I just decided I didn't care, even though I coated it. It's definitely got some scratches, and it's okay. So those are some things that are coming this year for sure. And that's kind of what I have planned. There are a couple other things in the works that I'm not sure if I want to talk about yet, because I don't really know if they're going to happen or not. So we'll see from there. Brian and I have talked about going to SEMA this year and trying to film some content if we can get a pass for that. So I think that might be kind of fun, and he can be my camera person, and we could do a bunch of interviews and see some new products and talk things. There's a lot of stuff on both sides of the channel for me for that. So that'd be kind of cool too.
Yeah.
But that's what's going on. We've done this for an hour and 15 minutes. So I don't want to go on too much longer at this point. There's lots to talk about, and I really, Brian, appreciate you coming on the channel. You're one of my favorite people in the world. We're very different. We see things very differently, but I love that about us. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
No, feeling's definitely mutual, and happy to be here, man.
And then lastly, I just say thank you to everybody, who's watched, the group who's sat here for the last hour and a half, while there's probably other much more interesting live streams going on, and maybe watching 3 or 4 of them at the same time. But there'll definitely be more of those videos coming for you in the future. And feel free to reach out anytime if you want a video on something, and I can get it. I will definitely do that as well. And I love interacting with people. The one other thing I would end on is, like, the channel's been alive for a little over 2.5 years, and the amount of, like, negative comments has been very small. So, I was a little bit worried about that in the beginning, and it's just been way smaller than I thought it was going to be. My channel's not big enough that I can't moderate everything. So there are the people who just, if they make a comment that makes absolutely no sense and it's negative, then I probably just block them from the channel or remove them. And that's what I do. Maybe that's not the right choice. I don't really know, but I feel like it keeps things, like, I don't care if you disagree with me. I love it if you disagree with me. In fact, if you can tell me why. I don't think that's true, and here's why. Or I have this problem with my thing, and this is what happened. But if you're like, this product totally sucks, and you can't say why, well, then what was the point in writing that? Why did you take the time to do it? Or I have better stuff. DM me over here. Well, those are going to go away pretty quickly, right? Like, I'm not leaving that on the channel. So it's been a really great experience, and as long as I can keep doing it, I will continue to do it. I have no idea where it'll lead in the future, but that's the plan for 2026. It's what we did in 2025, and those are some of the products I liked. So thank you for being on the journey with me, and Brian, thank you for being on the journey and continuing to be on the journey in the future. Don't hesitate to reach out in a comment below, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, live your life in beta, and we'll see you next time.